Happy holidays, and welcome to the monthly Pyramid Portfolio Update as of Thursday, January 1st, 2026. As usual, I hope you'll find the information in this video useful, but disclaimer, please note that this is not investing advice. It's just my portfolio as it stands today and it can change at any time without previous notification. Following an investment strategy without doing the work yourself is almost guaranteed to result in losses. So please be careful since it's your responsibility to do your own research before investing. At the end of the video, in this week's bonus section, we'll check out the yearly portfolio performance review for the fourth year in a row and see if the things we talk about also make money, not just hopefully sense. We'll see how the pyramid portfolio fared measured against some relevant benchmark in the past year, 2025, and we'll also take a look at the best and worst investments of the year and conclude with some lessons learned. But first, let's start with the usual look at this month's activity. In terms of buying, I DCA'd the big mob Bitcoin, and in terms of selling, I exited 4 positions and trimmed a big one. First, I exited my proposed trade last month, the Christie's IPO, which went up about 12%, but the amount was so small after the 22x oversubscribing that it's hard to call it a win. But hey, we tried our best and made money in the process, which is always good. The company still has potential to grow and is very likely to be included in the BET index, but now I think that the Romanian stock market is a bit overheated with almost 50% return this year, including dividends. I also trimmed my position in BRD Group Societe Generale by about 14% and fully exited Hidroelectrica, which I hold since the IPO and which also has potential for upside since it closes a bad year, so the base for next year is low, and it also entered the small household consumer market with higher return on investment. I also exited Transgas, still potential to grow with the extra gas volume extracted from Neptune Deep, and exited TTS, Transport Trade Services, which has potential growth in volume when the war in Ukraine ends. So overall, all the companies had some upside, but I expect slash hope is not as big as covering for the potential downside, since I expect the Romanian market to underperform the next few years. In terms of cash flow, I got only a small dividend from State Tech and 5 government bonds coupons, and 2 of them also reached their maturity, so they returned the principal as well. So I have a new inflow of capital to start the new year off. That being said, the portfolio as of January 1st, 2026 is the following. Please pause the video if you want to analyze each investment in more detail. The number of assets is a bit smaller now since I sold 4 of them, Transgas, Cristim, Hidroelectrica and TTS, and reached about 40. And the cash position is a bit larger, reflecting the sales plus the coupons mentioned before. And finally, the current pyramid allocation portfolio to start the new year looks something like this. Overall, my portfolio was up 1.2% for the month and bringing the year-to-date return of the pyramid portfolio at 6.9% plus living expenses. Now, before going to the next section, if you are interested in the subject, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps bringing this completely free information to more and more people. As mentioned at the beginning, in today's bonus section, we will be looking deeper into the portfolio performance in 2025 and mention the 3 best and worst investments of the year. So, my total return was 6.87% for the year. But let's put this in some context. It was below both the S&P 500 and the Romanian stock market index, the BET. However, as usual, it depends how you calculate the returns, since part of my portfolio is not yielding immediate returns like real estate, and also have stashed a significant cash position for living expenses and as a rainy days fund. If we exclude those two, the return for the year was 11.89%, still over the S&P, but not by much. And if we also add my expenses, which actually went up significantly this year, about 50% more than last year, I would reach 15.81%, so very close to the S&P 500 returns. Overall, this was a worse year than 2024 in terms of returns, but I'm happy that I was still able to beat inflation and bond returns. Now, let's dig into the worst investments of the year, which partly explain the lower returns. The first one is crypto. After last year was an overperformer. Actually, it's funny how reversion to the mean works, since one of the year's top performers is last year's worst performer and vice versa. But this year, the allocation dropped from 8.25% of my portfolio at the beginning of the year to 6.5% right now. I'm still in the green overall, but it was not the year I was expecting with all the positive news coming out. The ETFs, the policy changes worldwide, the treasury companies buying a lot of it, etc. Number two worst investment on the list is Restart Energy 1 bonds, which actually went into receivership and the bonds dropped 70% and the company still has big problems and a significant chance of going bankrupt and me losing all the money. If you want to learn more about it, watch the May 1st video to get more details as it happened real time. The lesson here is that I didn't really understand junk bonds in 2021 and unfortunately also lacked the liquidity to exit. But I think this is a great lesson to learn relatively cheaply since it was not a big position, fortunately. And number three is a weird one, Transgas, which actually rose about 200% this year, but I sold last year most of it, so I didn't benefit except marginally with a small position remaining and through the bad ETF exposure. Now, let's shift gears and see the top 3 best investments of 2024. As mentioned, two assets switched places, and now Alibaba was one of the best performers of the year with 73% after 2 years of underperformance. The next second best investment is gold, which grew about 27% in 2025 and was a top performer last year as well, with the same return actually. But I still expect inflation to be sticky and go slightly up, so I'm bullish on gold next year as well. And last but not least, I mentioned the Romanian Stock Exchange Index, the BET, which grew 46% this year and over 50% if you include the dividends as well. Now, an honorable mention is deserved by the US tech sector focused on AI, of which I own Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Shopify, which performed very nicely this year as well, driving most of the S&P 500 returns. You might notice from the tone that I'm happy about how my portfolio performed this year, and from the mistakes and wins, here are the three lessons learned in 2025. First, I was thinking of mentioning the same ideas of 2024 because those are very, very important, kind of core principles, when those in 2025 are more execution based. But I thought, hey, let's not take the easy route out, but you should check the last year ideas as well, since they are really important. Anywho, the first lesson is of course, Rio 26 bonds and the fact that the company went into receivership. To be honest, this was not a huge surprise because I always had problems with the company and I have pages and pages of issues, but I failed to pull the trigger. There are a few lessons in the investing growth PDF added based on this incident, and the most important one is that if a company makes one mistake, fine. Two mistakes, okay. Three, four mistakes, it is more likely to make bigger and bigger mistakes and consume your bandwidth. So get rid of them as soon as you notice the path they're on. Next, one important thing I focused on is the compounding formula, which says that compounding C equals returns R at the power of time T. So what's important here is that the main variable is time because it is exponential. Is at the power of. So give your investments time to compound and do not take too much action. Last but not least, returns are important, but successful investing is investing that lets you sleep peacefully at night. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it somewhat useful, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know how your portfolio did this year. See you next month. Au revoir, mon ami.